Welcome back to The Explainer. Okay, today we are fundamentally shifting our mindset about how software actually gets built. If you've been in the industry for any amount of time, you already know the drill. We build systems, and then we try to secure them. But what if that entire paradigm is just completely backward? Today we're exploring the absolutely crucial shift from reactive security to proactive security by looking directly at the traditional software development lifecycle and seeing how it stacks up against the Secure SDLC. We already built it this way. Just let that sink in for a second, because I'd argue that is the absolute most expensive phrase in software development. Usually you hear this right after a penetration test uncovers a critical authentication bypass, like 3 days before you're supposed to launch. When that happens, you are stuck with two terrible choices: either delay your launch or ship a known vulnerability. And all because the code was built on insecure assumptions right from the jump. Okay, let's dive into this. We're going to cover the traditional SDLC problem, introducing the Secure SDLC, a phase-by-phase breakdown, some real-world proof from Microsoft, and finally, overcoming common objections. Section 1, the traditional SDLC problem. You know the drill here. We gather requirements, design the system, write the code, test it, and then deploy. But look at exactly where security usually sits in this lineup. It's squeezed into just one single place: testing. Maybe your QA team runs a quick scanner, or you bring in a pen tester at the last minute. And honestly, whether your team is strictly agile or old school waterfall, the fatal flaw here is exactly the same. We build first and we try to secure it last. It's just a checkpoint near the finish line, rather than a thread running through the whole process. Section 2, introducing the Secure SDLC. So the best way to really wrap your head around the Secure SDLC, or SSDLC, is to think about it as firefighting versus fire prevention. The traditional way, it basically forces this massive reactive spiral. You find a bug late, you're sweating to fix it under immense pressure, and those quick fixes usually cost costly architectural ripples that mess with decisions you made months ago. The SSDLC, though, it's all about fire prevention. The whole point is to embed security activities into every single phase so you prevent those bugs from ever existing in the first place. Security isn't a phase anymore, it's a foundational property. Section 3, a phase-by-phase breakdown. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is seeing how things evolve side by side. Let's start at step 1, requirements. Traditionally, a functional requirement is just users need a login. Pretty simple, right? But look at the SDLC approach on the right. That exact same requirement gets massively expanded. We're talking MFA, account lockouts, strict password policies, mapping directly to OWASP, GDPR, or PCI DSS right out of the gate, not panicking about them during an audit. We're also defining abuse cases. We aren't just asking what the system should do, we're actively anticipating how an attacker might try to break it. All right, moving into the design phase. Normally, you just map out components in an architecture diagram and call it a day. But an SSDLC turns this into a systematic identification of what could go wrong before a single line of code is written. Literally zero code. You're documenting trust boundaries, figuring out exactly where data crosses from a trusted zone to an untrusted one, and doing dedicated security architecture reviews. And how do we actually pull off that secure design? Threat modeling. Specifically, using the STRIDE framework. It's a total lifesaver. It stands for spoofing, tampering, repudiation, information disclosure, denial of service, and elevation of privilege. By running your data flows through this framework during the design phase, you're proactively hunting for fatal flaws while they're literally just lines on a whiteboard, which, as you can imagine, makes them incredibly cheap and easy to fix. Next up, development. In the old days, developers just write code and ship features, but here, it's totally transformed. Engineers are getting real-time vulnerability flags popping up right in their IDE. Peer reviews aren't just checking for logic bugs anymore. They are explicitly hunting for security flaws. You're enforcing secure coding standards, running CI dependency scans on every single commit, and, crucially, absolutely zero secrets like API keys or passwords ever touch your source code. Let's move to MOMI and see how this builds our modern testing arsenal, because we really need to clear up some of the jargon here. These tools essentially replace that old isolated penetration test. SAST is static analysis, looking at the code while it's being written. DAST is dynamic analysis, meaning you're actively attacking the running app just like a real hacker would. IST works from the inside out during your normal functional testing. And then there's fuzzing, where you deliberately throw a bunch of malformed garbage inputs at the system just to see if you can make it crash. So armed with those tools, watch how the testing phase shifts. Instead of just basic functional QA and maybe, if you have the budget, a last-minute pen test, the SSDLC is fully utilizing DAST, IST, fuzzing, automated security regression, and third-party CVE scans. This highlights a profound mindset shift. In a secure SDLC, the penetration test becomes just a simple verification of your security posture. It is not a discovery tool used to dig up massive underlying architectural flaws. Okay, deployment time. The traditional way? Push it to production, cross your fingers, and hope it holds together. The SSDLC method? Hardened automated infrastructure as code, security configs are baked into templates, secrets are injected at runtime so they are never sitting in a config file. Your app is shielding by web application firewalls and runtime application self-protection, or RASP. Plus, you've got security runbooks prepped and ready to go if things do go wrong. Finally, maintenance. And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate goal of the SSDLC. Instead of just reacting to bugs and slapping on forgotten patches, you're living in a continuous loop of proactive monitoring and improvement. We're talking patch management SLAs measured in hours, not weeks. Dependency updates are totally automated, and every security incident gets a blameless retrospective, so you're always improving for the next cycle. Section 4, Real-World Proof, Microsoft. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds awesome in theory, but does it actually work? Well, let's look at Microsoft. Back in 2004, the blaster worm hit. It exploited a buffer overflow in Windows and caused literally billions of dollars in damage globally. It was devastating. In response to that, Microsoft completely changed their culture and mandated the Security Development Lifecycle, or SDL. They forced 12 strict security practices, like mandatory threat modeling and fuzz testing, across their entire development process. And today, that has become a widely adopted model for the whole industry. And the results? Well, they speak for themselves. After implementing the SDL, Microsoft publicly reported a greater than 50% reduction in vulnerabilities across their products. Let that sink in. More than half. So yeah, it's not theoretical. It is absolutely battle-tested. Section 5, Overcoming Common Objections. Okay, let's rapid fire through the top 3 excuses you're going to hear when you try to roll this out. Number 1, it slows us down. The reality, it actually speeds you up because you drastically produce those massive late-stage emergency rewrites. Number 2, we have a security team for that. That's great, but a centralized team literally cannot review every single pull request from 50 different developers. Security has to be distributed. And 3, our framework handles it. Guys, frameworks only give you defaults. They don't know your specific threat model, and relying solely on defaults is exactly how you end up making front-page news for a data breach. To wrap this up, making the secure SDLC work really comes down to 3 foundational elements working in perfect tandem: the right tooling, the right process, and the right culture. You can't just buy a shiny new tool to fix a broken engineering culture. And a great culture won't scale without the right process in place. You absolutely need all 3. So the crucial point is this. If you ran a penetration test today, like right this second, would it simply verify that your security is solid, or would it uncover fatal flaws in your underlying architecture? If you suspect it's the latter, it's probably time to stop firefighting and start focusing on fire prevention. Take these ideas and weave them into your very next requirements meeting. Thanks so much for joining this explainer, and we'll see you in the next one, where we'll dive even deeper into specific phase activities.